Deadly Grounds Coffee knows how important your coffee is to you. Every batch is roasted to perfection with a unique special method that brings out the richest, deepest, smoothest flavor you'll ever find. We're coffee freaks too, and deadly serious about our brew. Just one sip and you'll know why we say, once you go deadly, you don't go back. It's truly coffee to die for. So when you're ready to get a little deadly, get online and order yours at getdeadly.com. It's coffee so good, it's scary.
And welcome once again to another episode of the Retro Ridoctopus Cephala Podcast, the only show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome. We are part of the Dorkening and Inebri-Art podcast networks, and as always, we are brought to you tonight, as every night, by Deadly Grounds Coffee, coffee to die for. And our guest would know that if he didn't skip over the beginning of our episodes. I am your host. My name is Parasite Steve, aka Steve Van Samson. And with me tonight, I don't have no Nintendo. I don't have no 8-bit Alchemy. Actually, I do not have those things. Those are both double negatives that were unnecessary. But what I do have a great guest for y'all. And I'm just going to introduce him right now. We're just going to dive right in. Our guest tonight, because this is an episode of The Brig, is kind of a big deal. And I know that because he told me so himself. He happens to be an Amazon best-selling author of the popular Typosquad novels. There's 3 of them, count them 3, as well as numerous short story collections, scripts, and novellas, and he writes short stories that are in anthologies all over the place. He also wrote the screenplay for and starred in the short film Typosquad, Words Can Hurt You. And he's currently the producer and star of PNN, the Parody News Network on YouTube. This week in the Brig, why, it's none other than Stephen Lomer. Welcome to the show, Lomes.
Yeah, okay, enough of the chit-chat. I want to know why it has taken so long for me to be featured on... How many episodes have we done? Have you done? How many episodes?
I mean, of the interview segment, probably 40, 50, something like that.
40 or 50.
Yeah.
40, 50.
Yeah.
And you've got me floating out there. You've got me, the Amazon best-selling author of Typosquad, the executive producer of the Parody News Network, the creator of Tell Me About Your Damn Book.
Yes.
Well, I'm floating out there, and what... And I have to invite myself onto this thing? And then you put me in this shitty cell?
Yeah, well, the cell... okay, look. All right, like, it all comes down to my own insecurities because I never want to be the second handsomest bald guy on the show.
Well,
so I know, and you don't have to keep reminding me, so let's just leave it there if we could. But you're here.
Have a personal connection, like
yes,
like when we did Tell Me About Your Damn Book. I interviewed Maddie. You remember when I interviewed Maddie? That was adorable.
I do remember that. Yes.
Also,
that was some time ago.
During COVID, I came out to Nick's comedy strip.
That's true.
Support you when you were selling your books outside.
Yes. Yeah, and I told you about my damn book all over again.
Exactly.
It was like we're like, oh, we know what to do here. We've been through this because you had that show, and I was on it.
And still, I'm not invited. I don't get it.
Well,
you want to goose the ratings now.
The other thing to consider though is your level of whininess. There is that. There is that. I think there's that. But I just want to say, like, I'm sorry it took so long to get you on the show, but you're here now. You're down in the dank and in the dark. And I wanted to tell you that the smell down there, that reeking, rotting corpse smell, is the thing that's kind of like feet wrapped in burnt bacon that you're smelling right now. Yeah, that's due to the pile of human foreheads in the corner. See, Andy Parks left him behind last week, and I still need to get rid of him. I kind of kind of brushed them into a pile, but I haven't. I don't know. I haven't really thrown them out yet. So just like, stay on the other corner. Move the stool over to the far corner, and and do your best. I guess that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
What does that mean?
Honestly, doesn't matter at all.
Okay. Right. See, I thought the smell was me.
No.
So I feel better.
No, it's the forehead.
I feel better now.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
So as has been mentioned already, you are on the show, in case you didn't realize, and welcome to the show. Finally,
about time.
So if we're going to dive into it, you, my friend, are metaphorically and physically sometimes, although not right this moment, you're a wearer of many hats. You are an author, a copywriter, an editor, producer, actor, director. But in fact, as I learned today, as I was researching yo ass, you had in fact started many moons ago as a literary agent. I was wondering if you wouldn't mind talking about your journey from agent to somebody who's representing an author to an author themselves instead. How did that go?
Oh, I'd love to tell that story. That's a glorious story. Hold on, let me move my stool over away from the forehead.
Yes, move from the forehead.
All right. Oh, that's better.
Pull your shirt up over your nose. That'll be fine.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll do that. So I was. It was many moons ago. Many moons ago. I believe the year started with the number 1. I know it's hard for some of the people out there to believe that there were years that started with the number 1, but there were. And I remember I went to Barnes and Noble. I know there's people who don't remember what Barnes and Noble is either. Wow, I'm really dating myself. Anyway,
I mean, someone's got
it. I found this book that said, excuse me, 99 careers you can start for under $99. And I was like, ooh, okay, let's try this. So I'm flipping through it and nothing is appealing. And then suddenly I see literary agent. And I was like, ooh, I could do that. And it was the glorious Wild West years where all you had to do was say, I'm a literary agent, and maybe get some business cards printed up that said Stephen Lomer, literary agent, and boom, off you went. So I did that.
Like printed money.
Yeah, exactly. It's a license to print money.
Yeah.
And so I put together a crappy little website that said I was a literary agent, and then I started putting out the call for people to send me their manuscripts. And people did. That's the crazy part.
The fools
did, yeah. They didn't have any idea who I was. They had no idea about my history, my skills, my abilities, nothing. They just sent me their manuscripts. I was like, wow, okay. So I had a stable of about, say, 10 authors. And I just started doing exactly what they could have done for free, which is just submitting them to these publishing houses.
Right.
And of course, nothing happened because I'm just a schmuck, and the publishing houses are like, yeah, okay, these books are terrible. We wouldn't accept them from the author. Why would we accept them from you?
And you're like, because I am a literary agent.
Yeah, read the business card. It says literary.
Have you seen the website?
Yeah, they don't just give anybody a
They
website.
corroborate each other. It's not just me saying this.
Exactly. One vouches for the other. One lies and the other swears to it. So I will say my crowning achievement as a literary agent was there was this guy, and he had written a Tom Clancy style thriller.
Mm-hmm.
And he had done all the legwork on it. He had like pushed it out there. He had gotten it past the guards, past the gates at the publishing house. So really he just needed like a layup man. So I just stepped in and said, hey, publish my guy. And they're like, okay. And I got 10%. And it was glorious. And so I was like, okay, well, percentage wise, I'm doing really badly here, but at least I have something upon which I can hang my hat. And yeah, that was the end of my adventure as a literary agent. But,
okay, so how'd you go from what made you think like maybe I should be the one writing the books?
well, funny you should ask. I was actually inspired by
It's by
all.
design, in fact.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. It's I was inspired by all of the shitty manuscripts that I was being forced to represent. I was reading them and I was like, wow, these are really bad.
You're like, 3 monkeys could write better than this guy, and you're like, wait, I'm the equivalent of 3 monkeys.
Exactly. I might even be the equivalent of 4 monkeys.
Well, 4.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then the one that got published was bad also, but it got published. And I was like, my God, if that can get published, I can get published.
Right.
So, so that put me on the path to becoming an author, just because I knew I was better than most of the authors out there. Or at least the sample I had seen.
With conviction, you knew this. You didn't suspect it. You didn't. It wasn't like an inkling. You're like, perhaps I am better. No. You're like, I know with a fact.
Yes.
Or a fact. In fact.
Yes, it's an empirical fact. It is scientific fact. I am better than these people.
Better in all ways.
In all ways. In all ways that matter, really.
So your first book that you wrote was a collection of short stories called Stargazer Lilies or Nothing at All, which is a very interesting title. Short story collection includes one story that would inform your later work, which we can get into. I know the stories included in this collection span multiple genres. So what I'm wondering is, did you write this to be a collection? And you're like, I don't care. I don't have to have a theme. I don't have to have a genre. I can do what I want. Or were you like, no, were these stories written for different open calls, and then you later decided to collect them?
Well, let me start by saying my attitude of I don't need a genre has haunted my entire career as a writer. But your supposition is correct. These were all short stories that I had submitted to contests, and they had varying degrees of success. And as you know, it's the oh God, I'm blanking on it. The short story contest that they have every year. It'll come to me. Anyway, you get randomized. They give you the random genre, the random character, and then the element that you have to write.
Okay.
And then off you go. So, the feature story was about a woman getting married, and you had to the element it had to be comedy, and the element was Stargazer Lilies. So I wrote the short story Stargazer Lilies or Nothing at All, and I was like, wow, this is really good. And
you're like, I am so impressive.
Yeah, I really am.
Like out of the gate, you're like I
wow,
am so impressed with my own self.
Well, that story got all the way to the finals. So it wasn't just me who was thinking it was good.
Right. No, you were just correct. You were just correct in how impressive your writing obviously was.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I put together the time between when I stopped being a sham literary agent and when I became a published author, that period was when I was writing these short stories for these contests and submitting them. And so I was slowly compiling what would be my first book, which was Stargazer Lilies. And it's funny you mentioned it because I honestly can't remember if the short story that inspired, formed Typosquad was originally part of Stargazer Lilies. I don't know if it was. I think I might have written that after the fact.
And added it.
Yeah, and added it later, which is a great feature of Amazon. You can just upload as many versions of your book as you like. You just keep putting things in and taking things out. So it's just that easy, kids. If you have a terrible manuscript, you can go ahead and upload it on. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe people won't realize and they'll buy it. But then you can just keep fixing it. You can just fix it over years and years and years. And I know people do it. I know for a fact people do it.
I wouldn't admit it like in a public forum, like some sort of an interview, like for a podcast or anything like that. But I mean, sure, people do it. So the story that we're kind of alluding to is called Royally Screwed, and this is the prequel story to what for a while was your big series that you were pouring all your energies and effort into, which is the Typosquad, as I mentioned in the intro. When I met you, Typosquad 1 was your book that you were promoting, and then you've written 2 more since, and a bunch and other stuff after that. So
we met that.
Yeah,
long ago?
it's been a while. It really has been a while.
Wow. Because Typosquad 1 was like what, 2017?
I mean, I probably met you in 2018, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, it's been a while for sure. It's
Actually,
weird.
I can tell just by looking at Maddie. I can tell how long it's been.
She's 14.5 right now. So I mean,
God.
So it was a while ago. But since she was on, tell me about your damn book. But yeah, so Royally Screwed, did you write this truly before you wrote Typosquad, or did you go back and sort of write a prequel?
I believe that I wrote Typosquad, and then I wanted to explore Ewan's character and sort of see where he came from. And I also needed it to set up Typosquad 2, because the main villain in Royally shows up again in Typosquad 2, the Wordmonger.
Okay. So the Wordmonger from the short story. That's cool.
Yes, exactly. So I believe the order of events was I wrote Typosquad, then I wanted to write Typosquad 2 and to make the public, to force the public to like me. I wrote Royally Screwed, and then wrote Typosquad 2 so that I would set that goal for people, and then they would be able to fully understand what they were reading in Typosquad 2.
Very cool. So, before we get into the actual story of Typosquad, tell me, what is your relationship with typos in general? Where did it all start? Was there ever a time that the two of you got along?
No. I have had a problem with typos as far back as I can remember. But in my day job, I was a proofreader and a copy editor for years and years and years. So I was battling typos on a daily basis. So really the inspiration for Typosquad was the fact that we proofreaders and copy editors didn't have any heroes. We didn't have any Captain Americas. We didn't have any Iron Men to come in and save us. And I should write about some people that do what we do, but are heroes that we can look up to and that are cool, because I've never met a proofreader or copy editor that was cool. So
I still haven't, Steve.
I know. I understand. I never claimed that aspect of my life was cool in any way, but that's where my relationship with typos started, was in my day job as a proofreader within all different sorts of companies.
Gotcha. So you're filling a void. You're like, okay, I see that there's this whole group of people that is under represented. They have no one to look up to. I can really respect that. I love that. I'm all for that kind of thing. So let's create this team of cops/superheroes called the Typosquad. So for those of you who don't know, so on the surface, this book it's a spoof, it's a satire, but it's this basically, it kind of reads like a police procedural a little bit. But to do it, you went and you created this whole freaking world with its own set of rules. You essentially created a magic system. That's what you did. You're the world building of the Typosquad universe is ludicrous, because it truly could not happen on Earth. Nothing, the rules of physics are just different there. So so tell the audience who might not know, in the world of your main character, Richard, aka Dick Shawnery, what happens when somebody makes a simple spelling error?
Wait a minute. Have you all this time thought his last name was Shonnery?
I did.
So you never got the joke that he was.
No, I get the joke.
Generic.
I'm just assuming that it would be pronounced that way to like hide the joke a little more.
No.
So it's Shanary.
Yeah, there's no
you say
subtlety
Shanary.
here. Yeah, no, it's terrible puns.
Oh,
and
terrible.
You have to embrace them. You
Dick
gloss over them,
Shanary.
man.
Yeah, Dick Shanary. Okay,
Dick
there you
Shanary,
go.
yeah.
There you go.
Richard
so
Shanary, exactly.
Richard Shanary. Yeah, that's Richard, please.
Richard.
So what happens when somebody makes a typo in this world?
When a typo appears in this world, it is lethal. So if you are not a member of Typosquad and you don't have the immunity that comes with being part of Typosquad, actually you don't get immunity from Typosquad, you join Typosquad because you're immune. But if you don't have the immunity and you see a typo, you die. And that came directly from my experience with typos, because every time I saw a typo, I died a little.
You just died.
I did. A little bit of my soul died.
Yes.
So yeah, so that was the world that I built. 98% of the population are vulnerable to these typos. So it's a highly vigilant society. Mm-hmm. But of course, the old saying, where there are waters, there are sharks. So there are always going to be people who are trying to exploit these things. So just as you have Typosquad who are trying to defend the public from the forces of errorism, you're going to have errorists who are out there to try and destroy everything.
Right. Not terrorists. We have errorists.
Errorists.
That's great. That are the bad guys of the book. And they just leave like misspelled words on blackboards and like whole buildings have to be evacuated.
Yes, exactly. And it can cause widespread death and mayhem. And we are that thin red line between order and chaos.
The red line comes from the teacher's pen.
That's correct.
Yes.
It
is technically a thin red line, though.
It really is a thin red line. It's literally a thin red line.
Literally, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the main characters, we have Richard Shanary, who goes by Dick, so he is Dick Shanary. Theosaurus. We have Ewan Who's Army. We have Anaphylaxis. And we have Chris Wig, who is known as Big, so he is Big Wig. And then the main antagonist is Anton Nim, he was one of my favorite creations. That actually came to me just as I was waking up one morning. I was trying to think of who the
is that when you're. Do you find that that's when you're the most brilliant? Do you find the twilight moments of the day? Do you find you have like the greatest number of brilliant like thoughts? Do you find that?
Well, I'm always brilliant.
Right, I know.
So,
I'm just saying like the most brilliant.
Yeah.
In a day where every other moment there's brilliance happening.
Yeah.
But do you find that like those early half asleep sort of drunken moments where you're sort of recalling some sort of half-formed thoughts from your dream world, is that the most brilliant or like kind of mid-tier? What would you say?
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, with the level of brilliance we're talking about,
we're
talking about
obviously very high.
Yeah.
Right.
But just waking up or just falling asleep is often when inspiration strikes. And that was the case for them. I just, in my head, I saw antonym, and I was like, oh my God, it has Anton in it. That's a name. Here we go. Yeah. We're going to go with this.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we discovered that, no spoilers, so I will just say that Dick has a brother named Chicago Manuel. And that's a bit more of a deep dive, because any proofreader worth their salt uses the Chicago Manual of style.
Oh, that's really good.
To figure out punctuation and all of that stuff and usage. So there are levels. There are levels, and I put in a lot of stuff that only proofreaders would really appreciate and understand, and I certainly hope they do. But the genesis of it, the genesis of the whole thing was, I was somewhere. I can't even remember where I was, and in my mind, it came into my mind fully formed. It was a nameplate on a desk. and it said dictionary, and then someone had taken a Post-it and read big and stuck it to the edge of it, so it now read big dictionary. And I was like,
of course it did.
I was like, okay, whatever that is, now it has to be something. And so it evolved very slowly and painfully into Typosquad. And I say painfully because I wrote 2 entire full complete drafts of Typosquad that I just threw out, that I just torched.
It's like what do they call it when a lady passes a baby? What is that called again? Like when you I can't think of a different word for it. When you pass a baby,
Birth?
You know what I'm talking about? Oh, birth.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, right. That it's like that. It's like, would you say it's just as painful as what's it called again? Birth.
Birth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that, right? It was just as painful doing these drafts.
Yes.
As something, right? Wouldn't you say? Like, if there were ladies listening to the show tonight, they would hear you say this, and they would agree? Do you think, or what?
Man, you are so far afield right now. I think you had an idea and you were going to chase it down, but then it just got away from you, and you said, "I'm going to follow this until it falls apart."
So do we have in your list of characters?
Yes.
It occurs to me that the perfect name is Lauren Ipsum. Do we have a Lauren Ipsum?
Yes.
Is there really?
There is, yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Lauren Ipsum, yes. Yes, of course there is. Of course
there is. Of course. What do I think? My like average Joe everyday genius can match the lofty heights of yours? Goodness, certainly.
There is a Lauren Ipsum. There's also a Red Penny, who's one of the characters. There is a Misinformation, who is one of the characters. It just goes on and on. So I would say that your level of enjoyment and appreciation of Typosquad is directly proportional to your ability to tolerate puns. Because if you can't handle puns,
this is like Puns the book. Like Puns,
yeah, it really is.
Puns
it really is.
The series, right?
Yes.
Right.
And so, but yes, it was very much a matter of killing your darlings, because I wrote the first draft and I was like, this does not work. So I torched it. And then I wrote the second draft, and I was actually able to salvage some set pieces from the second draft. And then I sort of put it all together and had the final draft for Typos.
Nice.
And I was just so happy. That was and is my baby. That's like, if someone's giving my eulogy and they don't mention Typosquad, something has gone horribly wrong.
Then somebody hired the wrong eulogist.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
Yes.
So, and of course you had the 3 books, and also you have a short film directed, I believe, by Killarney Trainer, friend of the show. She was on a few weeks ago.
That's correct.
And so this is the Words Can Hurt You short movie, which I was actually at the premiere screening of. I'm not bragging. I'm just stating a fact.
Sure. Well, that was VIP, so obviously you were there.
Obviously, I was there. So yeah, what was that like? You know, adapting this work into a totally different medium like that. And I assume you must have written the screenplay, right? You must have. Yes, certainly. Yeah. So how was that process?
That was awesome. That was awesome. I loved bringing that to life. So a little bit of IMDb trivia about Typosquad, Words Can Hurt You. I had written it, and it was almost a direct adaptation of a scene from the book. And so I had worked with Killarney and her brother, and we had gotten the budget set, we had gotten the set, we had the actors set, everything was cool. And then I'd say 2 nights before we were scheduled to film, I decided to do a whole rewrite of the first half of the episode of the film, because the first half of the film just sat there. It just didn't really work. And so I did a rewrite, and now my rewrite had all these extras, and now my rewrite was cost a lot more. and everyone was scrambling. But that first half, the second half of the film, it gets a little talky. I had so Krista Terry, my longtime friend, played Theosaurus, and so she brought her son to the premiere. I think he was 7 when we had the premiere, and he turned to her with his review and said, "I liked the first half."
Yeah. Well, there you go. It's a very honest kid reaction.
And the first half is really, really good. It's really.
I'm sure the
fun.
second half is all Killarney's fault. I mean,
well,
certainly.
obviously, it's. I mean, what I did wrong was I rewrote the first half and left the second half alone.
Certainly, you're like, well, I trust Killarney to make this work.
Yes,
the second half,
right?
But she just
but the
couldn't meet you halfway.
Actual,
I mean, come on.
The actual experience of filming that, I still hold up as the best 2 days of my entire life.
That's
it was
awesome.
so. I mean, like, it was all hands on deck. So I got the costumes, I got the props, I arranged for the cafe where we filmed it. So I did all of this stuff to set the table, and then the day came, and it was everything I could have hoped for. It was glorious, and we had the cafe full of extras, and we really felt like legit celebrities because we were treated differently. We were like sitting over here. We had our lines, and all of the extras were doing their extra stuff, but the camera was focused right on us, and it was just the whole thing was just an absolute blast. And awesome. I don't know if I'll ever have that much fun again.
Well, I hope you do.
I hope so too. I mean, this is
really
fun, obviously,
obviously,
except for where I am in here.
Down in the dungeon, down in the brig with the pile of human foreheads. So clearly you love the experience, as stated. I think the medium got its hooks in deep because you pivoted. I know you kept writing, but books and novellas, but you also really pivoted to a brand new brand that you came up with, which, of course, as mentioned in the intro, PNN, the Parody News Network, which if someone were, on the street, not that they do, but if they were to come up off the street and say, hey, the Stephen Lomer guy? And I would be like, yes, actually, he's a friend of mine. He's actually a friend of mine. And they would say, oh, I'm super jealous because I was wondering what you thought of him and what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of this friend of yours. And I would say at this point, PNN.
Oh, yeah.
I never thought it would be anything but Typosquad, but I think at this point, these last 2 years, you have been going so full tilt boogie with this PNN, or as the kids call it, Peen. I think Peen is what the kids say.
Call it Peen. It's my eternal chagrin.
Come on, you planned it and you love it, please, Lomer. Give me a break. As if you didn't think of that. So please, let's talk about the Parody News Network. For those who don't know, the format for this show, it's on YouTube. You dive into a different movie for each episode, and then you report on it as if the events of the movie, whatever it is, if it's like Jaws, you're like, oh, there's stuff happening at the island. It was at Amity Island, and there's a big shark, and the mayor's like blah blah blah, and you kind of just act as if the events of the movie are happening currently in real time, and then you just kind of go from there. And in 2 years, you have produced, now this isn't like full episodes, but you've produced over 320 videos for this channel, which is incredibly impressive. Like, no bullshit. That's really cool. So tell us like how this idea started. You're the head anchor. You're the star of the show. So I feel like you got the bug from doing the Typosquad movie. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you are definitely correct. It was the Typosquad movie. It also was Tell Me About Your Damn Book. Because I discovered through that that I had sort of on-camera interview skills or hosting skills.
As the French, as the French say, a certain I don't know what.
Yes, they do say that, don't they? I think they say it in French.
Yeah, I
but
think so.
I'll have to check on that.
I don't speak that shit.
We'll do the research and find out. But yeah, so the origin of PNN goes back to lockdown. So we're in the midst of lockdown. Nobody can come out and play. I know a lot of people have blocked out lockdown and don't really remember, but you know, it was a kind of a bleak time. We were all just stuck in our homes and we couldn't really socialize and whatever. So I started getting the itch to do something creative. And of course, at the time, everybody watching like CNN constantly to find out how many masks they needed to wear and whether or not to disinfect their groceries. And I noticed that in the CNN segments, you had the anchor in the studio and you had the correspondent elsewhere, but they were talking in real time as though they were together in the same place. And so I thought I could do that. I could film myself as the anchor here in the studio, and I can get a bunch of actors and they can film themselves remotely. They can send me the footage. I'll stitch it all together, and it'll look just like a CNN segment.
Right.
So, so there's a website called Backstage.com, and it's where you find all of your actors or whatever you need for your creative endeavors. And so I put out a casting call for PNN, and got an overwhelming response because all the actors were stuck in their homes and they couldn't work and they were looking for something to do. Right. So a massive response to that. I haven't seen that kind of response since. And so I picked a dozen of them, and they were all over the country. They were Los Angeles, New York, Minneapolis, Chicago. It didn't matter because they were filming remotely. And so I wrote the scripts. I wrote 9 episodes. We rehearsed Zoom, and then they filmed themselves. I stitched it all together, and boom, there's your first season of PNN.
Wow.
And I was so proud of it. I was so happy that I was able to pull it off, because I wasn't really sure if I was going to be able to pull it off. And so I said, I got to keep this going because this is great. And so series 2 was as we were coming out of lockdown and people were now able to come and film here at my home studio. So series 2 was kind of a hybrid. So I still had some of those remote people, but I also had people, and it was important for me to get people on set because then I was able to be the on-set dictator that I really wanted to be.
Of course.
And, I was also able to get multiple takes and give feedback and have my own equipment, so it was consistent from video to video.
You wanted to get your Kubrick on.
Yes,
you wanted to terrorize these people, basically.
Yes. I wanted everyone to be
to scar them for life.
I wanted them all to be Shelley Duvall on the set of The Shining.
Yes.
And so it started from there, and then along the way it sort of became a brand. It just sort of became very closely associated with me and me with. One of the reasons is because I'm just relentless. Like I just don't take any time off.
I thought you were going to say handsome.
Yeah, well, you know, brilliant and handsome. Obviously.
Relentless and handsome.
Relentlessly brilliant and handsome.
Certainly,
but
and let's not forget humble.
Well,
let's not forget humble.
You know, I'm not as humble as I could be.
You know, I am the most humble of all the humblers.
I guess.
Well,
anyway.
you know, to take you down a little bit of a peg, you're not the only thing that's great about this show. There is your cast is great, and you have this whole list. So, your cast basically fills out the roles of these roving reporters who are on the scene. So whatever, the movie, whatever the events of the movie that are happening that you're ostensibly reporting on, they are the person on the scene, your eyes on the scene reporter. and you have certain people who get to be in a number of episodes, and they get to keep coming back. Some actors play different characters, some play the same one that have, you know, multiple episodes. And it is definitely a really like fun, you know, part of the show where you know, I mean is this how do you decide, you know, this person, that character is going to be a one-time thing, I don't need that character again, but this other one, I want to bring that one back? Is that something that just like you have to kind of see it and you're like, you know, I really liked that, I want to see more of it? How do you do it?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because, well, so first of all, the cast is I have some friends who are part of the cast, and I have some people who just really enjoy doing it, and then I have some actual like legit actors who appear in national commercials and whatever, and they just keep coming back for more. You actually a few of the people. Killarney is one of the longtime correspondents. Speaking of whom,
hi. Hi.
I'm sorry, is this on?
Hi, Steve.
Oh, what are you doing?
You said the 7th, right? Did I get that wrong?
You're for your second episode?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Marnie, it's September 7th. This is August.
Oh shit. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Stephen. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't interrupt.
Oh, you did.
Shoot. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just talking about you, so stick around. We're talking PNN.
No,
I can't interrupt.
I don't know.
Sorry.
No, that's just weird. I'll talk to you next month.
All
okay.
right. See you, Steve.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
That was weird.
Wow, that was weird.
That was so weird. Anyway, you were saying about
it was
your
like
people.
a Beetlejuice thing. I said her name.
You said her name. Yeah. Maybe we did
appears.
collectively. We said her name 3 times. That was I don't know what that was weird. So you're saying like, okay, so you know, you have friends, you have some people that are, you know, in commercials, national actors and all this stuff. So like, how do you decide which of your friends, like for instance, like which of your like super handsome, talented, funny, bald friends that you may or may not ever have on your show after 2 years, like how would you decide this?
Well, some people are better at dropping hints than others. So, you know, and I'm good at picking up on those things.
Oh, endlessly. I mean, just
so
the most best, obviously. Yes.
I mean, it's you know, we have really, really good looking bald Steve for PNN already.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
So yeah, although it would be kind of funny for you to just like be the anchor of one episode with no explanation.
No explanation at all. That would be good.
Just
that
like
would be good.
There's a new Steve in town.
Yeah, but you don't go by Steve. You go by different names every time.
Yes, that's true. I come up with.
So that is one of the fun jokes, that every time it's like sort of Taylor. You don't really have a character name. Like, who's your character? You're just you're the lead anchor. I don't know.
Yeah, I just I usually, like, if we're doing a specific film, I'll look at the cast list and I'll just take a random first name and a random last name from the cast list, and I'll put those together, and that's my character name. And I'll do that with the others as well. But so to circle back to what you were saying, like, so I had written the Human Centipede episode. And the gag was.
I'm glad you qualified that. I thought you were going to say you wrote the Human Centipede, and I was going to say you're not as good a writer as I thought.
Yeah, no.
But you wrote the Human Centipede episode of PNN.
Okay, yes.
Okay, we're good.
Yes.
We're good. Okay,
nice. And in it, so the gag of that is that none of the correspondents want to report the story, because it's so completely disgusting. And I came up with this character named Lenore, who was a PNN intern, and it wouldn't bother her at all. So after eliminating all of the regular correspondents, we would go to Lenore, and she would just report the story, and she'd actually think it was kind of cool.
Gotcha.
And so I had a friend who lived in Salem. That probably tells you everything you need to know about this friend.
You cut out for a second. It lives where?
Lives in Salem, Mass.
Salem. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So that probably tells you everything you need to know about that person. And I wanted
that they're cool.
Well, yeah, but quirky.
You can leave it at cool. You can be nice. It's fine.
Yeah, but it's important.
No one's gonna arrest you. You're already in the brig.
But it's important for me to set the table here because this person was very unique. Let's put it that way, and I thought would be a tremendous Lenore. And so I kept asking this person, but my messages just weren't getting through. So I turned to KJ and I said, "Can you do this?" And she said, "Yeah, I can totally do Lenore." So she became Lenore, and Lenore is so not KJ. She's like, I think it's very much KJ, like tapping into everything that she suppresses on a day-to-day basis and unleashes it as Lenore.
Yeah, she's definitely. When she was on a couple of weeks ago, we talked about it, and I said I think she's like the anti-KJ, because like KJ basically never stopped smiling.
Right.
We're talking about Killarney. KJ is to her friends. She never stopped smiling, and Lenore is the opposite. Of course, she never would smile ever in a million
Correct.
years.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So Lenore was a huge hit, and so I said, let's figure out other ways to bring Lenore back. And so what I try to do with Lenore is have her pop in when you least expect her to pop in. And so far it's worked amazingly well with that character. And then Tim Baird, who you also know, fellow author, he's been with me since the beginning, and he joined the cast because the very first episode was Star Wars: A New Hope, and he absolutely refused.
He's seen that before.
Yeah, once or twice. Yeah,
he's aware of it in a vague way.
Yeah, I think he may have seen it once or twice.
Yeah.
But he absolutely refused to allow a PNN Star Wars episode to exist without him being a part of it.
Gotcha.
And then
so there was like threats of violence, basically, because he has metal swords.
Yes, he does.
Like real metal swords that can cut you.
Yes.
And you don't want none of that business.
No. And then if you're gonna fight back, he has chainmail.
Yeah.
And helmets. And armor.
He's like a giant sloth. You just can't hurt him.
Yeah. So I'm not going to tell him he's not going to be.
Yeah, he's very much like wouldn't you say he's like a giant sloth in that way?
Yeah. Well, I'm letting you say he's like a giant sloth in that.
Well, because as everybody knows, the giant sloths had like bones in their flesh, so it was like built-in chainmail.
That's true, and Tim does. He has bones in his flesh.
And that is something you get on the Retro Ridoctopus Cephala podcast is knowledge that gets dropped on your lap whether you want it or not.
And as we all know, knowledge is
sometimes
power.
It's typo knowledge, sometimes it's giant sloth knowledge. You never really know. You got to watch the whole episode and stop skipping ahead, Steve.
Okay.
So
I can do that in the future.
That's just a general. That's just a thought you might want to just hold on to.
Well, if you want to drop in references to PNN at random points in these episodes in the future, then I won't skip ahead. I'll have to listen to the whole thing to find the PNN mention.
But that's only if you know that they're there. So you need to listen regardless.
I guess
that's the thing.
I'll never know,
because they might be, and I'm not going to tell you because I want you to listen to the whole thing.
That's very clever.
So I'm probably only going to get like 3 or 4 episodes out of you with this method, but 3 or 4 episodes. I mean, that's like more than 0.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Sweet.
So with recording these episodes, you have these correspondents in all different places. They're all remote. I'm just wondering, like, how much ad-libbing you allow on the show, because I mean, we've already established that you are the Kubrick. You run your show as if it were a dictatorship. You write the words, they say the words, or else they get the hose again. So just like, are there times that sometimes, you know, because these are talented people, these are funny people, are there times that, you know, they ad lib, you know, and you just let it roll, just, you know, like for the sake of good comedy, like, you know, even if it means things not going quite according to plan? Does that ever happen?
No.
What?
No.
Okay, what kind of question is that? So I'm getting the sense, other Steve, that you've never even seen PNN.
What?
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Who the hell are you?
Don't you think, if you've watched them before, that it's pretty clear that nothing ever goes to plan? Literally nothing.
Look, I don't know. What is this? What do you, what it?
You know what? You know what?
What?
Why don't you just go away, other Steve? There you go. Bye-bye. For those who are confused right now about what is going on, I am Krista Terry. I am the new host of Retro Ridoctopus, and I am here with Steve number 1, who is the ultimate host of Peen. Hi, Steve. It's nice to be talking to you tonight. First question.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Which PNN cast member is your favorite, and why is it me? And before, I'm going to give you a second to think about it.
Okay.
Is it because of our long relationship that straddles the personal and the professional? Maybe it's because I constantly outperform.
Oh, do I talk now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, by far, my favorite cast member is Krista Terry. She is the total package. She's beautiful. She's talented. She's always there when I need her. She's part of the PNN creative team. She's thoughtful. She's fun to work with. There's no downside to having Krista as part of my team, and I hope that she will be with me to the end, wherever that might be. But yeah, there's no question. There's Krista, then there's this huge gap, and then there's everybody else.
Thank you. That was really beautiful. That was the best part of this podcast so far. My next question is, which PNN episode has the most views?
Oh, well, that would be the Charlie's Angels episode, which has currently 86,000 views. And that is because Krista Terry is in it.
I don't think it's just Krista Terry, though. I have a theory, and maybe you could speak to this theory, that you could get more viewers with ass and titties.
Interesting. Yes, I could. You're absolutely right. I just don't know how much of the cast would be willing to do that. And that makes me hesitant to ask them. But you're right. With boobs and butts, we could really start racking up the views. No pun
Have you
intended.
considered going topless?
Hey, excuse me. It took me like 5 minutes to get back on here. Ma'am, I don't know who you are, but you're questioning my interview style on my own show, Krista Terry. And now we're talking about boobs and titties and asses. What is this?
Yes.
How do you know that this format even allows for such talk? How do you know?
You could be bleeping.
You've never been here before.
I don't even know where I am right now. I just had to. It was so bad. I had to break in.
Well, you know, I really appreciate the constructive criticism, but it could have been in a nicer wrapper. Okay, maybe with a bow or like some chocolates, you know, and you're like, hey, have this. And I would be like, thank you, ma'am. But because, you know, you didn't.
Steve,
I'm
just hurt other Steve's feelings. I think I hurt other Steve's feelings.
I am the Steve. This is my podcast. Excuse me. Goodbye. Okay. I don't know where she came from. That was ridiculous. I don't know what's going on tonight.
Wow.
You know, she thinks she's so cool. You know, I'm really actually kind of pissed off right now. She really got my goat, as it were. You know, she thinks my questions suck.
Well,
like, who is this lady? This is a friend of yours?
Well,
she's on your show. This is a friend of yours. This is ridiculous.
It's I don't.
All right, you know what? You know what, Terry? All right, you want better questions? Is that what you want? Fine. Here, how about this one? I bet, riddle me this, Lomer. I bet you've never had this asked of you in a professional podcasting situation before. All right, why did Frodo and Sam, when they went to Mount Doom to destroy the Ring of Power, why didn't the goddamn Eagles just take them the entire way there and back again, huh?
Oh,
my God, are you talking about the fucking Eagles again? Come on.
That what?
I'm just saying, we've talked about this, Steve, okay? If you have, like, pick up a book, okay? Crack a spine on a page. I know you like to watch horror movies and 80s crap, but just read a book, okay? Everybody says, like, oh, it's a plot hole thing. Like, why did the Eagles just take them? The Eagles couldn't have taken them because, one, if they had flown in, the Eye of Saruman would have seen them right away, struck them down.
The Eye of Sauron would have seen them?
Yeah, like a mile away. They would have taken him down. They would have been dropped into Mordor. If they weren't dead already, he'd have the ring. Plus, people are like, oh, how come you just can't command the eagle to do it? Gwahir, the fucking Windlord, is not some magical beast that could just be commanded. It's a sentient eagle. He has his own little, like, society and everything. You know this. We've talked about this. He owes Gandalf a favor because, like I said, read a book. Gandalf helped him save himself from getting struck by a poisoned arrow.
Hold on.
A poisoned arrow. He owed him a life debt, like Han and Chewbacca.
Yeah, which he repaid all the way back in The Hobbit.
But he repaid him over 3 separate things. When he rescued him from the top of the mountain after fighting the Balrog, when he rescued him off of the top of the White Tower, and then finally at the end, he gets him to bring Frodo and Hob. He brings them all home. And then, bam, they wipe their claws clean. Eagles, Gandalf, they all go their separate
Eagles
way.
have talons, Tim.
Coming up.
Talons, not claws.
Talons. Claws.
Wolverine has claws, Tim.
I'm just saying, like, we know what we're talking about. Like, why do we keep talking about the Eagles? Like, just let it go. Oh, God, she's here too now?
Hey.
Hey.
Lenore?
Hey. You know what? Shut up, Tim. No one likes you. No one likes a nerd.
I don't know. Steve Lomer does.
I don't think he does.
What?
I don't think anyone does.
It's not that we've done. I sure. It's.
This is the weirdest episode ever.
I'm going to defer to Steve on this because I don't know what's happening.
I don't know what's happening. I think PNN has invaded and infected this entire show.
And I was just at home having some Mountain Dew, sharpening my sword as one does on a Monday night, and suddenly I start hearing Eagles being talked about. So that's why I'm here.
Nerd.
What are you doing? Are you at home just like reading Edgar Allan Poe or something?
I wrote Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, okay. You wish.
That's true, actually. She did.
All right, Lenore, if you're so high and mighty, why don't you answer the question?
What question?
The question.
Oh,
the Eagles.
The Eagles. Why didn't the Eagles just take Sam and Frodo to Mount Doom?
I am Mount Doom.
Oh, that's freaking hilarious.
Can't compete with that.
Guys, all right, this is ridiculous. This is getting like way out of control. Look, try to remember. Okay, this is Steve's episode. All right, so
Steve's what is this?
It's an episode of the Retro Ridoctopus podcast. It just happens to be a podcast that I sometimes host. Always,
I've never watched it.
Well, that's hurtful. But so if we could just like all be a little bit respectful, take a step back. All right, I'd like to continue with the interview. Okay.
Whatever it is you do.
So let's just, you know what? I keep popping these guys out. They keep coming back. Let's just leave them. Okay. Just ignore them. Pretend they're not even here. So tell me, Steve, where do you get your ideas for comedy?
Well, it's tragedy plus time is what it is. So a lot of the childhood trauma that I've been carrying around with me, I've sort of twisted that into a sort of dark and ominous sense of humor. And I guess I should use air quotes with that. I don't really know that I necessarily have one, but it's there, and it's good. I guess.
I think you're very funny.
Yeah, sure. It's
what was that? Lenore, what do you got? Something to say?
Oh, please. He's not even the funniest Lomer I know.
How many Lomers do you know?
What the hell does that mean?
Oh my God, Sir Van Sampson, is that you? Oh my God, I am so excited.
Oh my God.
You have no idea.
Thank heavens. Thank heavens.
This is my first interview as a comic. Honey, you don't mind, do you? I mean, Typosquad.
He hasn't said anything in like 35 minutes. It's fine.
Typosquad film was the best 2 days of your life, huh? Wedding day doesn't count. I think you need to give me this one, okay? Okay, Steve, ready, go.
Okay, so Teresa, hi.
Yes,
welcome to the show.
Hi,
welcome to the show.
I'm so excited.
Oh,
Thank
great!
you.
I'm so happy to have you. So tell
hi,
me,
everybody. I see everybody else. Oh, Lenore, you are my hero. Okay.
Hi, Mrs. Lomer. It's nice to see somebody finally funny on the show.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
I mean, that hurt. That's also hurtful. That's also a little bit hurtful, Tim.
Yeah.
So Teresa, tell me about like how did you get started in comedy? Like you're doing all this stand up these days. What's this new stand up routine? Like what? How did you get going with that?
I got going. It all started when I was 12. And
so it's been going on for a while because you're
long
time.
Yes, a little bit more than 12. Thank you. What was that, an insult? I hope not. It sounded like one, but okay, we'll just roll with it. No. So yeah, I loved comedy growing up, and Fletch was my favorite, and my brother and I would say those lines back and forth to each other all the time. So that was my one movie that I loved so much. And my friend pretty much dragged me into a coffee house one Wednesday. Oh, Lenore, you look so good.
It's so good. So good, right?
Yeah. Dragged me into a coffee house one Wednesday about a year ago and said, look, there's this open mic going on. Just show up. You don't have to do anything. And I showed up and I saw the board up there and I just said, well, hell, I'm just going to give this a go. So I threw my name up there and told a funny story and people liked it. And there you go.
Awesome.
I'm sorry.
Amazing.
Steve, did you have Lomer? Did you have something else you wanted to add?
No, he's fine. He's typing.
Okay.
He's probably drafting up divorce papers or something. It's no big deal.
No, that's fine.
So tell me, so Teresa, like, where can people see you? Do you have any gigs coming up? Like, where?
Yes.
What are you doing? What do you got going on?
On Wednesday, the 23rd of August, I'm doing a amateur comedy competition at the Burren in Somerville. So
that's like the most amazing thing I've heard tonight. Wow.
Oh, I know, isn't it? I'm so excited. So excited.
It's so great.
I can't wait.
That is so great.
I'm a little terrified, but
can you
really
say one more
excited.
time like the name? So it's August 23rd.
Yes. So Wednesday night.
Where is one more time?
It's at the Burren, which is a bar in Somerville, and it's an amateur comedy competition.
Awesome. We'll definitely put that in the show notes so people can easily, because you want to always put the relevant links to whatever was talked about in the episode in the show notes so people can easily. Certainly.
Of course.
Certainly.
Yep, I see that. Yep, I understand.
Teresa, will this be up on YouTube? Because I have been looking for a funny YouTube channel to follow. Because there's literally no YouTube channels that are funny anymore to follow and find new content on.
It's tough. It's tough out there.
What I really need is I need
barren
a Friday
landscape.
to pick me up. Every Friday, I am down in the dumps, and I'm like, I wish there was a funny video to watch on a Friday. Do you have something like that for me?
You know what, Tim? It is a work in progress, and I am going to do that for you.
All right,
because you are important to me.
Thanks.
Oh, see, that's what I love about you guys, man. It's that sense of camaraderie where everybody's lifting everybody else up.
Right. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like everybody feels good at the end of it. Like everybody.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know if it is. There.
Have you ever felt good before?
No.
Do you want to try?
No.
You want to maybe go out sometime?
No.
You want to go out with me sometime, Lenore?
All right, so that's
she's
it for
gone.
Lenore, I
Oh,
guess.
oh.
Anyway, guys, this has been a weird night, but I'm going to say goodbye to all y'all. And I don't know how this all happened, but Mrs. Lomer, you're a peach. I just can't get enough of you. I'm definitely going to see you on the 23rd, sweetie. All right. So, all right, here we go.
What?
Steve.
What? What is happening?
As friends. I mean, just as friends. But so anyway, Steve, like all I can say, buddy, is I don't know what the hell this has been. All I can say to you, and I mean this, I swear, baby, this sort of thing has never happened to me before. Okay? I hope you believe that. I hope you believe that.
And especially when you get older. I understand.
So anyway, I would love to get things back on track, but you know, it seems we're just about out of time. So I mean, I don't know what to say. I guess that wraps up the episode. I can see you don't have anything else to say. So, guys, if you haven't jumped ship by now, we certainly hope you've enjoyed this week's journey over the treacherous waters of all the things that made growing up awesome. If you like what you've heard, please hit that little subscribe button and like us on Facebook and Twitter. As well as being part of the Inebri-Art Podcast Network, Ridoctopus is a full-fledged member of the Dorkening Podcast Network. So, if you got a chance, please check out our sister shows like Epic Tales from the Sewers, Throwdown Thursday, Comic Paradox, Bear at Night. There's over 30 shows on the network, and you know what? You're bound to like a few of them. So, for more information, or to subscribe to us or any of these great shows, please visit thedorkening.com and be sure to check out our killer sponsors, Deadly Grounds Coffee, coffee to die for. I would like to thank our host, Stephen Lomer, for hopping in the brig this week, and let's be real, for being such a good sport. Be sure to check out the Parody News Network on YouTube and StephenLomer.com for all things Stephen Lomer. There are links to all of these incredible books that he's written on Amazon, and most importantly, lots and lots of pictures of Steve. Seriously, there's like a ton. So, buddy, I guess I'll let you out of the brig down there. Again, careful of the foreheads as you make your way out. Wouldn't want you to trip and, like, I don't know, sue me or something. I'm worried about some bad blood. I don't know. So, you know what? What the heck? Let's just, for the hell of it, let's just bring everybody back because they're just still hanging out. And we'll just bring everybody back. And thank our surprise guests all the way from the Parody News Network, Killarney Trainer as Lenore, Krista D. Terry, Tim Baird, and Teresa Lomer. You guys truly helped me make this episode one for the books. So now's the time, Steve.
Oh no.
If you got anything to say, man.
Krista wants to come back.
Now's the time. Oh, Krista's not. Oh, I clicked it. She's here.
There we go. There she is.
Wow. I liked you before, but now I really don't like you.
Fair enough.
Now it's personal.
Well, you did kick me off, you know.
That's true.
My own show, lady. So, hey, Steve.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
Yeah. Here we are.
Yeah, no, this is tremendous. Yes.
One big happy family of
sure,
people who have been on PNN and me.
Oh, that's a self-invite if I've ever heard one.
Yeah,
I'll get you on. I know a guy.
Yeah.
As I have already explained, we already have a good-looking bald Steve on PNN. So,
I mean, twice the good-looking bald Steves, twice the profit. It's like the same thing with the underpants gnomes. They collect the underpants, and then step 3 is huge profit. It's the same thing. I don't know what step 2 is, but
you're gonna confuse people. People are gonna be tuning in. They're gonna be like, "Wait a minute."
If we ever do another cloning episode, though.
If we ever do another cloning episode, yes.
Or even like a Wrigley's Double Mint gum commercial. You guys could be the
Yes.
twins.
We could be riding on a tandem bike through the park.
That'd be cute.
Not
We
a
could
bad idea.
tiptoe through the tulips, all the way through them with our ukuleles. So, Steve, I hope you realize that it's just because we love you. And this
Yes.
episode
Obviously.
truly is the most that we have ever personally done to promote anybody. So I hope you realize that when you're falling to sleep tonight and you're kind of
Cursing our
still mad.
names.
You're kind of still mad about it. I hope you realize that really PNN is awesome. And everybody should check it out because you guys all do a hell of a job and you are all very talented. And it's really been fun to work on this. This was actually not a small amount of work or a small amount of planning to get all this done, especially live. So a lot of tonight was written by everybody here. We collabed a lot of this, and it was a lot of fun. So I certainly hope everybody out there in listening land had a good time tonight in this weird surprise episode where we punk Stephen Lomer. I think that maybe Stephen Lomer punked is the name of the episode. I don't know. It's possible. I don't want to get sued. I don't know if Ashton Kutcher is still alive. Does he still breathe? Does he do
Still
stuff?
alive, yeah.
He is. Yeah. So yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. We'll see. But anything? Nothing?
We love you, Steve.
We do.
I
Don't hate us too
appreciate
much.
that. Thank you. Yeah, no, this has been a wonderful little mini reunion of all of my teens, and
All your peens.
I'm just glad that I said kind things about all of them before they arrived.
Oh, they were there, Steve. They were here the entire time.
Oh, well, I'm glad I said kind things anyway.
And to be fair, the second part of Typosquad was my fault. Totally my fault.
Yes. Yes. Talk to her about that.
So why were you so bad at the second half of Typosquad? Kalani?
You know what? This isn't my show. This is really Steve's show. I don't want to take a spotlight from Steve.
Wow, what a cop out. Wow.
We can talk about it when I come back.
September 7th.
September 7th.
Yeah. You
Also a
fool.
joke.
Mark August 7th on your calendar.
She was on like 2 weeks
Wow.
ago. It's like that.
Slick.
But certainly, anybody's welcome to come back anytime you want, including you, Steve, and promise to be good next time. But yeah, honestly, working through a list of people that I haven't had on this year, and you are really very much on that list. You're very, very close to the top of that list. I went through Killarney. The next person I think of is you, jackass. So come on. And then you're in my freaking DMs, giving me shit for having her on. Come on.
Because it's not, I think of you, which leads me to Killarney. It's the other way around. I interview Killarney, which leads me to you. Do you see?
Maybe
the distinction?
I told you Killarney is cuter than you are. That's all.
That's bullshit. This interview
Do we need to take a
is
vote?
over.
Is this a vote situation? So we could do a
If you're
show.
going to talk crazy like that, I'm not even going to bother. We are equally attractive.
Equals. We are
Yes.
balanced
Equals.
as all things should be, just like
Yeah.
Thanos wanted.
Mrs. Lomer and Krista are much better looking than we are.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's Tim. So we established the hierarchy.
Hey, Tim
Tim-
looks better in chainmail than
Yeah.
anyone I've ever met.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
And
amazing.
That's bullshit too.
It seems like
I
I know
named
that.
10 people.
I wanted to
You-
grab the grail
I-
so
I
bad.
dare you to name 9. Name 9 people that look better in chainmail than Tim Baird.
All right, here we go.
Oh, no.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anybody.
I
else
knew
who
it's
wears
bullshit.
chainmail, okay?
Bullshit.
You called my bluff happy.
Yes. Yes.
Tim, you sipping on Mountain Dew was
Yeah.
hilarious. You
Yeah.
just wouldn't stop.
Could you hear the slurping?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Part
Mountain
of the
Dew is like
recording,
a character. The Mountain Dew is a character who had lines. The dialogue was the slurping.
Oh God, so
You
good.
know, this is really my OGs of PNN. You should really talk to them about what it's like to work on PNN. You asked me, you didn't ask them.
That's true. That's true. Well, I was interviewing you tonight. Ostensibly.
Were you?
Well, plus,
Were you?
this was
So-
my payment.
All right.
Samson said that I had to do this punk on you if I wanted to get on his show.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm like Kubrick in that way.
Yeah. Yes, you are.
So, all right, yeah, that's a great idea. So let's explain what you guys all do on the show. So obviously KJ Trainer, Killarney, you are Lenore, you're one of the correspondents. You've been on a bunch of episodes. So Tim also has been on a number of episodes, but you play different characters, right? You don't have just one character that you play, right?
So I have a recurring role of Elijah, which essentially is what you saw today. Then Steve brings me in anytime he needs a male character with a really great European accent. He brings me in to do French, Italian, British. I nail it. Like it sounds like you're literally calling up one of those like restaurants and it's
Can we get a little bit? Can we get a little
Steven's
French or
like,
something?
"Stop."
like he'll call me up and he'll be like, "Oh, is this the Eiffel Tower? And who am I speaking with? Is this Pierre?" Like, because he can't even tell. It's so good. And
Can we get a little bit? Can we get a little bit?
No, I got to save it for the next episode.
Oh, see that?
No.
See, now you just did the mighty Stephen Lomer proud there. So that was Krista, what is your role on the show?
My specialty would probably be giant blocks of text because for whatever reason, I almost always have some huge paragraph to say. And getting through it, I guess I can get through them without going blah, 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 blah. So that's where I come in. I'm a floater. I'll really play anybody.
Okay, so you've been like tons of different characters.
Yes, lots of. I've been Thelma and Louise, I think. I'm going to be the mom in Amityville Horror. I've been a Charlie's Angel. I've just whatever you need, I'm there. That's, you know what? He wasn't kidding. He could call me up tomorrow and be like, "Hey, tonight, can you come and film some random thing?" Because I have stepped in when somebody else stepped out unexpectedly. So it helps.
We need Tim Baird. He's busy. Can you throw on a goatee?
Yes, absolutely. I'll talk about Lord of the Rings.
She could pull it off. She's
nice.
Good.
And you do some behind the scenes stuff, right, Krista?
I've written some episodes and I've done casting. I review scripts. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. And Mrs. Lomer, Teresa Lomer.
Yes.
Hey.
Yep.
You are right there with Steve promoting this thing absolutely everywhere. I see you guys posting at every con, all these different things. You guys have a great booth and you're interactive. You welcome people in and take their pictures. And it's just this really fun thing. I think even if people don't know what PNN is, they have fun and it's like just meeting you guys and you leave them with this experience and this memory. So what else do you do for the show?
Well, I'm the muse, so
certainly.
That's primary. I've done some directing. I've done some extra. I've been an extra a few times. I helped with the Typosquad movie. So I help with. I have my input. What I think make things better. So, and he'll run things by me and, beforehand, and I'll say, don't do that. Or, yeah, that's a great idea.
That's mostly what I do.
So, yeah, no, don't.
So when he talks about his genius, what he means is that's a pet name for you.
That is correct. Yeah,
fair.
You got it.
Fair.
What you need to do in life is surround yourself with people who are much smarter and more talented than you are. And then people don't really notice that you're just faking it. So
well,
I did.
Well, everybody, every good ship needs a captain. So, let's not take you down too many pegs. This is definitely, you're at the helm, and I think you do a great job of getting everybody together. And this is definitely. It seems like you have a lot of people who help you achieve your vision. And even if the vision changes from thing to thing, they're still there, right there in the wings, ready to help, willing to help at a moment's notice, and that reflects on you. So
I thought for sure that was a cue for you to bring everyone from PNN on.
I can only
all at once. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the entire cast of PNN.
My clicker fingers sore from all the clicking.
Is that what it's sore from?
You know what? You know what the answer to that is? Always wonder. No, but seriously, that's really great, man. Like that reflects on you. So, for all the bravado and all that stuff, no, you deserve a lot of credit. And Typosquad, hey, I'm still waiting for the Typosquad theme park. So when you're breaking ground on that, like we got Harry Potter World or whatever, who cares? Like I want to go and like see some deadly words.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And be saved from deadly. That's what I want.
Yeah, next week. We bought
maybe
some
a tilt-a-whirl
world, and we're just going to build it. It's going to be great.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be the smallest theme park in the world, but it's really got heart, and that's the important thing.
It's just Steve pushing you around in a wheelbarrow.
People would pay for that, okay? People would pay for
They
that.
probably
People
would.
have.
You know what you could do? I'm just spitballing ideas for episodes here. So behind me is a poster right here, The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie. But it is it's a giant monster movie, and in the end it does demolish Coney Island. So what you could do is you could do this one full black and white, only it's the Typosquad park, right? That's what it is.
Oh,
brilliant.
You weren't pitching that for PNN?
Well, no, you cross pollinate, bro. Cross pollination.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, one thing references the other. Oh man, it would blow people's minds. Come on.
Yeah.
Typosquad reference in PNN.
No.
It's too good.
We're not doing any of that.
You can just tell me it's too good. It's fine.
No, you hold on to that. You make that a reality, and we'll just keep doing.
I just don't want to get sued by that Lomer guy.
No, I totally understand. It's ugly.
He's a little sue happy.
He is. Yes.
You know him a little bit. Guys, this has been an incredibly fun night, and more stressful than I hope I let on. So I will say goodnight to everybody, and thank you to everybody, especially our guest of the night, guest of honor, Stephen Lomer the Mighty, of course, from the Parody News Network, from Typosquad, the theme park, breaking ground next week. I hope everybody has a great rest of the evening. But before we go, Steve, is there anything else you want to leave people with? Is there, follow us on social media. So where can people find you? Where I already mentioned the website, and I will add all that to the show notes and all that stuff. But is there anything you want to tell people of where they can find your stuff?
Well, there's parodynewsnetwork.com is our website. It's youtube.com/parodynewsnetwork. New episodes every Friday. We also post shorts on Mondays and Wednesdays, which have been doing really well for us, which is great. We're also going to be appearing at conventions coming up very soon. We're going to be at Plastic City Comic Con.
Oh, nice.
On the
19th.
19th. Thank you, Tim. We're going to be at Granite State Comic Con in September, and then we're going to be doing the Monster Expo in October. So
awesome!
So people can come out and us and be part of PNN, and
they can reach out and touch the peen, which let me clarify. Hold on,
that's behind
Krista.
The paywall, Steve.
It's just the sign. It's just the sign.
It's PNN After Dark.
Ass and
We have to
titties.
talk about that next episode.
Ass and taints. That's why people tune into the Retro Ridoctopus Cephala podcast anyway. Ass and taints. Titties, boobies. Krista D. Terry.
That's my new ringtone right there.
Oh, the D stands for debauchery, folks.
That's
Pretty
true.
much. All right. I will officially get us the heck out of here. I have been your host. My name is Parasite Steve, aka Steve Van Samson, aka Steve of Destruction, though nobody calls me that, and it's a really sad thing that your adventures have ended here. Good night, everybody. See you later.